Ragnarok M Classic is just around the corner. And some of you guys are still asking what class to go for. So some of you guys are still confused on what to go for. So I'm gonna go on this very quick run on each class, and I'm gonna tell you my opinion about them, whether they're expensive, whether they're good, and whether they're needed in the party. So this will be based on my opinion, and it's going to be on the general side. I'm not gonna go for PvE or PvEP, just general, whether the class is good or bad, in my opinion. First, let's go for Rune Knight. Rune Knight is your damage class. You can go for Dragon Breath or Crit type. There's Spears and Bash, but you don't really go for them anymore because items are expensive and they don't deal as much damage as the other two builds. Because of the Master Adventure set, most of these classes are easy to build early. So we're going to talk about the higher end items, whether they're easy to build or not. So for Lord Knight, higher end items really expensive. It's not that easy to get. So if you have the budget to complete the deposits, because you're gonna need magic attack, magic defense, and attack for this, go for it. Is it needed in the party? Yes, for Lord's Aura. It's one of the best buffs in the game. Yeah, each party would want at least one Lord's Aura in their party. Next, Royal Guard. Royal Guard, you can go for Sacred build if you want to go for damage, or just the pure tank support type. There's also the new build Overbrand for it, so if you want to go for that, that's up to you. It's expensive or not. It's on the medium side, I guess. It doesn't really need a specific expensive item, but the enchants are going to be hard. Is it needed in the party? Yes. Yes, just yes. Next, let's talk about Warlock. Warlock can be a single target or AoE type DPS. You can go for Meteor Storm build, or Tetra Vortex, or the Soul Expansion. Most of those will require the same items, just different cards. So Warlock is going to be on the expensive side. Most of the items are on demand. So if you have the budget for it, go for it. Is it needed in the party? For instances that require AoE, yeah. Otherwise, its role in the party can be replaced by other DPS classes. Sorcerer is your support or damage class. You can go for both, or you can go for pure damage, up to you. So this class is on the cheaper side compared to other classes. Most of its items come from mini boss, and a lot of you guys will be going for this just for the reason that the utility that Sorcerer has, there is no other class that can provide it. It's just that Land Pro is just a very good skill. So yeah, it's needed in the party. Yes, definitely. With the title set changing the attribute of monsters, it's a really good class. Just yeah. So it's a good class, not very expensive. Most of you guys will be going for this. Next is Assassin. Assassin is your single target DPS class. It does have an AoE, but it's not really the good kind of AoE. So Assassin, you can go for CRS build for MVP hunts, or you can go for crit type. You also have the dagger, but I'm not really convinced that dagger is good currently. So this class can be expensive if you want to go for that higher end items. Most of its items require higher refine, and some items just doesn't get cheap over time. So yeah, it's going to be expensive all throughout. Is it needed in the party? Not really, since it's a DPS class. Its role can be replaced by all those other DPS classes. It's a fun class though. Next is Shadow Chaser. Shadow Chaser, you can build DPS or you can build utility. It's not on the expensive side, whether you go for triple shot or the stripper type. I'm gonna say in terms of how expensive this class is, it's mid. Yeah, it's mid. Is it needed in the party? For PvP, the stripper type, yes, you can. It's a very good utility class. For the triple shot, it's just another DPS class. So yeah. Next is Ranger. Ranger is your long-range single target class. It's on the cheaper side to build, but if you want to go for that higher end, it's going to be in a scale of 1 to 10, it's around 8 in terms of how expensive it is. The current meta build for this class is crit type. I haven't seen Trapper or Ward type, so I can't really give an opinion on that. So you guys can build that if you want. Is it needed in the party? Not really. It's effective though. It's one of the effective DPS type though, due to it being ranged. And there is an advantage going ranged during grinding, since we are the first hit, second hit mechanic. Next, let's talk about performers. Performers are both your damage and utility class. You can go for the SRS build or just the support type that goes for ensembles. Is it expensive or not? SRS is quite expensive. Otherwise, it's not. Is it needed in the party for grinding? Yes. And if you're looking for that secondary character that can resurrect, it's the performer. So currently there's no Doram, so performer is the second class aside from priest that can resurrect the party member. So you can consider that if you want to be a team player that still can do damage. So yeah, SRS is also one of the good AoEs. So you have that going for them. Next is Archbishop. Archbishop is your main support healer class. So yeah, you can build a crit type if you want. The most common type if you want to go for damage is going to be crit type. It's expensive or not, Archbishop is generally cheap to build. You just have to build tanky. But if you want to go for that higher end, it's going to be quite expensive since the good enchants is just hard to get. So is it needed in the party? Definitely. I don't think I have to talk much about this class. Next is Shura. Shura is your DPS. You can go for an Asura build or for a finger offensive build or a crit type. Crit type is not that effective currently for champs. Is it expensive or not? It's on the medium side. It can be expensive depending on the build. Is it needed in the party? Not really. It provides that Asura, which is the high single target damage. It has that going for him. So if you want that kind of skill in your party, you can go for that. Next, we have Mechanic. Mechanic is your farmer class, similar to Lord's Knight with this Lord's Aura. Mechanic has this unique buff, which is Weapon Perfection, which removes the size penalty for physical weapons. So for builds, there's really just one physical damage build. Is it expensive or not? It's up there. There's a cheap build to go for Mechanic that's going to be effective. So I can say it's mid. Is it needed in the party? I can say maybe. If your party is full on the physical DPS class, you might benefit on having a Mechanic in your party. In terms of damaging, it's another one of your DPS classes. Last but not least, we have Genetic. Genetic is your DPS / utility type. In terms of builds, you have a Fire Expansion build, a Homunculus Theater build, or a Homunculus Alienor build. Or just this utility build going for that Mandragora, Howling, Crazy Weed stuff for PvP. Is it expensive? It can be expensive if you're going for that high DPS class. So some of those items are expensive. But if you're just going for the utility type, tank type, which you can go for, I can say it's mid. Is it needed in the party? Not really. You can clear instances without a genetic. It's one of your DPS class. So that is it. I made this video as short and informative as I can. Just giving you my opinion. I just want to reiterate that when I say the class is not needed in the party, I'm just saying it is replaceable by other DPS classes. That's just what I mean. So don't mistake me for that. So yeah, I hope you guys get to decide what job you want to go for at the start of the OBT. Just so you don't spend your time and resources on classes which you might regret going for, realizing it's an expensive class. So yeah, see you guys later.